Hey guys, Speedoz here, and today I bring you a new video about the explosive arrow after the biggest nerf it has suffered. Alright? So I can already tell you in advance that this build is a non-meta build, which the difficulty of the game will be hard in my opinion if you compare it to another meta builds. So let's get into it. Okay, I reached level 90 with it. I helped Alira for the bandits. For the Ascendancy, first of all, Gathering Winds, then Fast and Deadly, and the last one, Endless Munitions. I think the Deadeye is the best option for this one, unless you invest a lot more, and then maybe you can play it as Raider, alright? For the passive tree, we went this way, got some damage nodes here, damage nodes here, some life here, and then after that, it's all about the jewels that you're gonna use, alright? I've used some cluster jewels, I'll explain in a moment. Just before that, I used this Watcher's Eye, which gives us increased attack damage while affected by precision, and some multiplier while affected by anger. I don't know about the price of this one after the video, but I bought one like this for 12 exalts, then used some divines, and then I got to these rolls, alright? The rolls vary from 30 to 50 and 4 to 60, okay? Now, about the cluster jewels, you will need 2 large cluster jewels. Large cluster jewels with 8 passive nodes and increased fire damage on the implicit, alright, for both of them. And both of them have disorienting display, prismatic hard, and 2 passive skills are jewel sockets. The only difference between these 2 large cluster jewels is the node of smoking remains, which is this one, gives us increased fire damage and chance to create a small smoke cloud on kill. A smoke cloud does blind to enemies. And the other node here is Master of Fire, which nearby enemies have fire exposure. You can really have 2 Master of Fire, won't make any difference, and that's why I got the smoking remains here, okay? So after that, disorienting display gives us elemental damage and 10% chance to blind nearby enemies when we use an elemental skill, which is explosive arrow, and prismatic heart gives us 10 all elemental resistance with increased elemental damage. Then you're gonna need a few medium clusters, okay? 2 of them are the same, 4 or 5 passive skills with increased critical strike chance, and Precise Commander, Precise Retaliation, and Jewel Socket for both of them here, okay? Precise Retaliation gives us increased critical strike chance if we haven't blocked recently, and also Precise Commander gives us some critical strike chance and multiplier. This is very nice since we're building, all the build is focused on building critical strike chance and multiplier. Our explosion damage and our hits damages are based on this. So this is why we are trying to stack as much critical strike chance and multiplier as possible, okay? For these medium clusters jewels, we're gonna use another one with 4 and 5 or 5 passive skills with increased projectile damage, which has Eye to Eye, Repeater, and Jewel Socket. Eye to Eye, plenty of projectile damage, and Repeater, projectile damage, and attack speed. And the last medium cluster will be a increased effect of curses with Master of Fear and Wish for Death with a Jewel Socket. Master of Fear makes our enemies that we curse be intimidated, and intimidated enemies take 10% increased attack damage. Also, Wish for Death, we have Culling Strike against cursed enemies. So, very nice quality of life here. After that, it's all about regular jewels, I would say. 2 jewels with increased critical strike multiplier for fire skills, elemental skills, and both of them have increased maximum life. You can also have a third one on here, or if you want to save some money, you can get a fire damage to attacks, some life, and some intelligence or some strength abyssal jewel, okay? The last small cluster jewel is a increased maximum life one. You can have 2 passive skills, but I think 3 is better because it means more nodes with increased maximum life, right? So I got this one with Fatal, and of course, if you can get some int, some life, and some strength on the small nodes here. As you can see, these ones give us plenty of life, okay? The rest of the jewels are basically Abyss jewels with Coin of Life and some damage. This one gives us blind, some fire damage to attacks, and some life. Another one here gives us phasing, which is very good for mapping, some fire damage to attacks again. So that's all the tree is about. Alright, jewels and critical strike multiplier and some life. The gear, I got this bow for the build. You can level the build with Death Opus. Maybe you can clear all the endgame with Death Opus, but I don't really recommend because getting a rare bow will increase your damage by a lot. This bow, for example, was very hard to craft in theory, but luckily I found this one for 10 exalts crafted already on the PoE trade. Basically, I believe nobody is playing explosive arrows, so it was really a nice thing to find on PoE trade. But if you're gonna craft it, you may look for the plus level to suck the gems or the more attack gems, and then you can craft the multi-mod as it is with +2 sucked support gems and some increased critical strike chance. Okay, if you're lucky enough, you can have both modifiers as I did, and then craft the multi-mod after it. The maximum frenzy charges modifier obviously is good, but it's not necessary. It will increase your damage while mapping because it will give you another frenzy charge. Okay. This helmet here, I got a lion pelt, which is evasion based with the explosive arrow deals increased damage. You can also get the explosive arrow attack speed if you feel like. And I got this base 80 level 85 plus, and it hadn't any influence before. So I bought an Warlord Exalted Orb, used it on the helmet, turn it into a Warlord base, and then I crafted a nearby enemies have minus fire res, okay, with Scorched Fossil. You can also use Scorched Fossil with Pristine, so you can have some more life. This helmet here, for example, has 95 life, so a very nice helmet for the build in my opinion. For the quiver, you want to get a Void Fletcher because of the Void charges, and obviously you need to change the implicit of this quiver, which is Pierce, additional target. You don't need Pierce. You will not want Pierce on this build because Explosive Arrow doesn't work with Pierce. So you can have any other modifier here. Maybe the best one could be additional arrow. You can have also point blank and some other added elemental damage if you want, but Pierce, don't get it, okay? Zoth's Blood, because I think it's a very nice amulet for the build since it has plenty of strength, plenty of life, some nice resistance, and most important of all, Fire Pen and cover enemies in Ash, okay? You can also allocate Lava Lash. That's a very nice alignment for the build. Gives us damage penetrates fire res and also increased fire damage with attack skills. We used the same anointment on the previous explosive arrow build, so why not the same? Okay, I think it's very nice. Calm's Heart for the chest. The +1 stock the gems is obviously a meme. You don't need this. All you need is the as much fire damage as you can get here. Okay, it goes up to 40. The ring, I got one with resists, some very nice flat elemental damage to attacks, and cursed enemies with Assassin's Mark on hit. After that, I multi-modded it with maximum life and shock nearby enemies for 4 seconds. This modifier here is very nice for boss killing because you will shock the boss no matter what. All you have to do is press the focus skill, which is granted by this modifier when you focus. So as soon as we press the focus skill, for 4 seconds we have this sort of buff that will shock all nearby enemies. For bossing, this is very nice, very nice damage boost for the build. The other ring is the Taming, has plenty of resistance, some nice damage with elemental damage. For this one I used elemental catalyst, and this one I used attack catalyst to increase the damage. Okay. The boots is a cheap version. It's very cheap. You can get some life, movement speed, and some resistance. I think I paid 5 chaos for this one. But if you're going for Raider, the best option here would be to craft a boots with elusive and tailwind. So you have some nice movement speed as well as a nice damage because of the tailwind. All right. The bell here should have some strength to help you wear the Calm's Heart, some life, some resistance, and if you can, some damage. Increase elemental damage with attack skills and increase the damage crafted on the belt. The gloves here, it's a very interesting one. I think it drops from the Alva. I bought this one for 1x, I think. It has accuracy, some very nice maximum life, some resistance, and the added fire damage against burning enemies. So since we have Avatar of Fire, which converts all of our elemental damage, even lightning or cold damage to attacks, physical damage to attacks, everything is converted back to fire. So we don't have any problems, for example, with physical reflected maps. Okay. So very nice gloves in my opinion. The flasks here is one with Divine Flask, some life, the Diamond Flask for the critical, Cinder Swallow with critical strike chance. This one is very nice quality of life when mapping. You can also have a Dying Sun, very nice for mapping and for a single target, and a Quicksilver for your movementation. You can replace either Diamond or Cinder Swallow for a Bottle of Faith if you like to when you're bossing, or you can just replace the Quicksilver if you don't mind by losing movement speed. You can also replace this one with Bottle of Faith, okay? But it's really up to you. I didn't add Bottle of Faith to not increase the build's cost. For the gems, we use N-Power, and N-Power 4 at the moment is costing 1.5 or 2 exalts. It's very cheap in this league, so very nice option to use here. Especially because it has 3 added levels from the bow. Awaken Fire Pen because nobody is playing fire builds at the moment, so it's very cheap as well and increases our damage. Elemental damage attacks. Explosive Arrow 21-23 cost me 8 chaos because once again nobody's playing this build. Barrage Support and Combustion. Anger, Herald of Ash, Portal, and Precision. It's very important to have your precision level and increase your precision level so that you have 100% hit chance with your explosive arrow. Mine is 99 because I forgot to level this one, but I believe in POB a precision level 6 is already enough to cap our hit chance. So have in mind this, alright? Blood Rage, Blink Arrow, Dash, and Second Wind. Also elemental damage attacks, Awaken Fire Pen, GMP, and Explosive Arrow. This setup here is for mapping. This setup here is for single target. Alright, you can see here the difference. Okay, so to sum up, this build is it's a fun build to play, especially if you want the game to be harder. Alright, because you cannot compare this build to the previous Explosive Arrow. Previous Explosive Arrow was obviously busted. It had plenty of damage, more than the game could calculate sometimes. So I mean, the nerf was expected, but if you want to play a hard build, this is what you get. Okay, it's an option to have if you don't want to play any meta builds, because meta builds at the moment clearly can overcome the difficulties from the game. So very nice option if you want to play a harder build. But in my opinion, if I had to choose between Ice Shot or Explosive Arrow, I would definitely choose Ice Shot considering the state of the game at the moment. Okay, but that's just my opinion. It's really about what you want to play and how much fun you'll have on whatever build you're going to play. Okay. At the moment, this build cost me around 35 exalts. So once again, if I was playing Ice Shot, for example, I think with maybe 35 exalts, or maybe, you know, that amount of investment, I think the outcome would be better, in my opinion. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.
Be utterly annihilated.
What's this? A real challenge. You've finally caught my attention.
What's this? A real challenge?
Die.
Devia ter pegado o panteão do Life Flask, talvez.
Why run? What's the point?
Qual compensa primeiro para build Herald Stack? Unnatural ou Bottle of Faith? Bottle of Faith.
The others found
Bottle of Faith vai boostar muito o seu dano.
They became reliant. I'm not so foolish. Die.
I have seen beyond sight.
Eita, apertei o botão errado. Ei, apertei o botão errado de novo. Confundi tudo aqui, velho. Alô.
Die.
Vou apertar pra ligar o choque.
Guilty grumble.
Apertei o W, mano. Build dependente de Flask é Fueda contra Sirus Black. Boa tarde, mano. Junão Rocks, pra quem tá chegando agora. É, né? Porque daí você teria que ter, por exemplo, Increase the Flask Charges when you deal a Critical Strike well affected by Precision. Daí é bom. Salvaria, né?
Die. Die. Die.
Your lives are meaningless. Embrace nothing
O portal tá embaixo dele, velho.
itself.
Tem que esperar ele vir mesmo.
Glorious flames! Fury of the cosmos! Embrace nothingness. Creation itself!
Hello, Zukana. Can you please show me how to DPS his Herald stacking is lacking in the solo department?
Be utterly
We need to change the jewels, the gems. You need to switch the chain gem for the control destruction one. It will boost your single target damage by a lot. Are you doing that?
everlasting fire!
Feel the thrill of the void.
Die. Everlasting fire!
Everlasting fire.
He
Is an illusion. Die.
No!